Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending whether you're watching us live or you're watching a recording. And welcome to the second session of the sixth Global Stop Cyberbullying Telesummit. Wow, we already in the sixth edition. 6 years ago, we started this. Wow. So my name is Tito de Morais. I'm based in Portugal in a small town called Rio Tinto in the outskirts of Porto, which is Portugal's second largest city. I'm the founder of Miúdos Seguros da Net, which stands for Kids Safe on the Net, which I founded in 20 years ago in 2003 to help families, parents, and the community in general to promote the safe use of technology by children. In 2016, together with two other colleagues, I co-wrote a book, a guide, Cyberbullying, a guide for parents and educators. And since then, my work has been focused very much on this topic. That was until 2021, when I met Cristiane Miranda, and together we founded the Agarrados à Net project, which stands for Clinging on the Net, focusing on digital well-being and the prevention of excessive use of technology by children, excessive and problematic use of technology by children. And since we work on digital well-being, we also cover the topic of cyberbullying. So I'm not alone, but before I hand over to my co-host, a special thanks to our sponsors and supporters, TikTok, Google, .pt, and of course the Garradzo.net project. And now the floor is yours, Cristiane.
Thank you. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Cristiane and I'm speaking from Barcelos. It's a little town more up north of Portugal. I am a coach. I'm a creator of the Teen on Top Youth Coaching Project. And as Tito said, I'm co-creator of the Agarrados Anet, which has the mission to help parents and educators to manage the online time their children spend in front of screens. It's a project that aims to promote well-being of children, youth, but also adults in some specific areas, such as to prevent excessive use of screens, to prevent and tackle cyberbullying, to reduce the negative impacts of social media on the body image of children, youth, but also adults, to prevent image-based sexual violence, to prevent the negative impacts of digital footprint, to prevent and tackle dangerous viral challenge, and to promote mediatic literacy. And of course, to promote positive digital parenting, which cross-cuts all these topics. But it's precisely in the context of the prevention and the tackling of the cyberbullying that we are here today, right, Tito?
Exactly. And as I said in the beginning, this is the second section of this telesummit. We organized this telesummit for the sixth year already in a row. The idea is to bring speakers from around the globe that share their experience, that give us an overview of the cyberbullying situation in their own countries or regions. So we have people that do research on the topic, that have projects on the topic, and that are working on the field. The idea is to give an overview of how can we identify, prevent, intervene, and tackle bullying and cyberbullying. So today is our second session, and without further ado, let's introduce our guest, Cristiane.
Yes, our guest today is Anil Raghuvanshi. I hope I'm saying this the right way, Anil. Then you tell me. He is from Nepal. Anil is the founder and president of the Child Safe Net, a leading organization in Nepal working to protect children and young people online. He is a child protection specialist and a leading expert on child online protection. Anil has been promoting a safer and better internet for children, and we invited him to join us to give us an overview of cyberbullying in Nepal.
Yeah, those wishing to learn more about Anil's work can follow his work and that of Child Safe Net on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and can request him to be connected on LinkedIn. We'll be sharing those links on the chat box. Anil, can you tell us a bit more about who you are?
Thank you very much. My name is Anil Raghuvanshi. I'm founder and president of Child SafeNet. I have been working in the field of child protection and child rights since about 35 years already. I worked in Nepal for first 15 years. Then I worked another 15 years in 8 different countries as an international child protection professional. Then I came back to Nepal in 2017 and established this organization to focus on protection of children in the digital age. So we started in 2017, but officially we registered in 2018. And so this organization is dedicated on one issue, that's child protection in digital age. And so we're focusing on research, advocacy, awareness raising, and capacity building. So I'm thankful to Tito, Cristiane, and the team for inviting me to this important telesummit. I'm glad this is the 6th year, and we will hope to bring different lessons, different expertise and resources to address the issue at the global level. Thank you.
Thank you, Anil. Can you tell us how and when did you develop an interest and got involved in today's topic? How did it happen?
Yeah, child protection has been my area since 1990. I work in the areas of child trafficking, street children, children with disabilities, child labor, and then I work on the issue of commercial sexual exploitation of children. When I joined ECPAT International in Bangkok in 2003, ECPAT started one campaign. I think it was one of the first campaigns on this issue. It was called Make IT Safe. So from Bangkok, we did start the campaign in Thailand, in Nepal, and in some other countries. That time, internet use was not that much, and also the issues and um, uh, the severity of online harm was also not that big. But we started in 2005, so it was, I think, quite early. And at the same time, UN was developing, making a report on violence against children. And Professor Pinheiro from Brazil was the leader of that study, UN Secretary General's study. So from ECPAT and from the regional and the global level, we were providing the input to that research. But in that research, there were only 5 settings mentioned for child violence against children, like a home, schools, institutions, neighborhood, and workplace. 5 settings. And ECPAT suggested that with the growing use of the technology, we should also consider cyberspace as a new setting for violence against children. So it was added as one chapter in that report. And I think it was the beginning, early stage of working in this issue. But from my personal, professional career, I had worked in mostly in emergencies and other development sectors with UNICEF, with Save the Children, Plan International, but I didn't have a chance to work on this issue. I had thought about working on this since 2005, but I didn't get a chance. So after 2017, I left my work with UNICEF. I was posted in Nigeria, and I was responsible for Boko Haram related child protection emergency issues. I was the manager for that. I left that job and came back to Nepal and started this organization because I wanted to focus on this because by that time the issue and the problem has also been increased and there's more need to work in this area and there is a gap. So that's why I started Child SafeNet, and we completed 6 years, like the telesummit. 6 years we also completed.
Okay.
Okay.
Anil, I believe you have a presentation to share with us. Do you want to share it and start the presentation?
Now,
Yes.
shall I present?
Yes.
Okay, let me do that. But this presentation is just to guide us on what we'll be talking.
Okay.
And Tito and Cristiane, if you like to stop me and also ask questions, please feel free to do so.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let me. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so now what I will do is I will share make a slideshow.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So as we discussed, this is about lessons from Nepal and what we can do together. So that's why I have included most of the information from Nepal, but also from the global perspective as well. First, as I mentioned that Child SafeNet, we officially established in 2018 in Nepal. We're working on research, capacity building, awareness raising, and advocacy. So we conducted number of research studies, namely we conducted research on online habits, online risks for children and young people. Young people, we cover up to the age of 24 years. Then we also had conducted a research on impact of COVID-19 on child online protection during the COVID pandemic time, lockdown time. Then we conducted a research on live streaming of sexual exploitation of children. Then we conducted the research on online intimate partner violence against teens and young people. After that, we conducted the research on parenting education for protection of children in the digital age. Then we also conducted this year, uh, we completed research on generative AI and child online protection. So we are planning to do another research on online grooming. So research is one of our key component. It helps us to understand the issue. It helps us to give the evidence for awareness and advocacy, and also program planning and fundraising. So for capacity building, we provide training support to the duty bearers and the stakeholders like the police, lawyers, psychologists, parents, and also we conduct training for children, young people, parents, and the community members, as well as the uh, organizations who want to know about this. Then for awareness raising, we are, as Cristiane mentioned, the National Secretariat of Safer Internet Day in Nepal, and we have been coordinating and supporting this campaign. And also we do have a social media campaign. We also make a lot of events and also make multimedia awareness materials like videos, podcasts, and also blogs. So these are also um, parts of our awareness raising. And for advocacy, we develop child-focused and children's voices uh, for the to address the concern and also raise their concerns to the government, to the tech companies, to the private sector, and also we develop situation paper, a white paper, situation paper on child online protection with information from our research and other activities. So we do evidence-based advocacy, not only to get attention of the duty bearers, but also to make them responsible and also to increase their investment and their initiatives. That's how we work in these 4 areas. And these are
May
some
I
of the
ask you?
organizations.
May I ask
Yes.
something? Sorry, you go on. How many people are working in child sickness? How many are you?
Let me go back to this. So currently we have 10 people plus
Okay.
me, 11 people in our office, where 11 people working there. But we do have about 10 consultants who work when we need their services, like the psychologists, the lawyers, technical experts, AI experts. So we have 10 consultants, media people, they work with us, but not as the regular staff, but as and when we need their services. And we also have a pool of 25 trainers. They conduct training in different parts of the country. We conducted in almost 50% of the districts. Like we have 77 districts. We conducted training in 35 districts. Even we don't have offices or staff in these districts, but we work with the local organizations, our trainers. So we have 25 trainers. They were trained and they are um, equipped with the knowledge and skills to conduct such training. And also we have more than 40 field researchers.
Wow. Wow.
And they were trained and they were involved in the research. And then when we need their service, we involve them. So we are a small team, but we work with many people. So that's how we are operating. Thank you.
Can I ask you an additional question? Those researchers are working in universities and things like that, and you contract them?
Yes, we are collaborating with Kathmandu University. Kathmandu University is the biggest private university in Nepal and also considered one of the best universities. So we work with their 2 schools. One is School of Education and School of Art. Now we are also considering working with School of Engineering for AI. So with that university, we work on conducting research studies on multimedia production. So we work with universities, and also we are considering working with universities outside Nepal also. So we're discussing with a university in Japan, also with Kathmandu University to conduct the research on online grooming. Then we have not direct but indirect connections with universities in Europe, in Australia, in Korea. So we are sharing our resources, and when we need your help, they will be helping us. So we do work with the universities. Yes.
And how are you funded? You are an NGO, I believe.
Yes, we are an NGO. Fundraising is a challenge from the beginning until now also. From the beginning, there were no funding. We had to put our seed money. We use our personal money for loan. Then when we had some projects, then we were able to conduct more activities. And then those organizations who were interested, they might not have regular funding, or might be they will be funding for 6 months or 4 months, 1 year, sometimes 2 years. But two major funding we were able to secure. One was Sexual Violence Research Initiative research grant. It was a very competitive grant. Out of 330 applicants, 8 were selected, and we were also selected for that. And the following year, we also got a grant from Safe Online Fund for the parenting research. And it was also competitive. More than 300 applicants were there, and less than 10 got the grant, and we also got the grant for that. And we work with UNICEF, we work with Save the Children, Plan International, but for some small projects, not very long ones. So we have some projects, but we are still struggling with longer term grants.
Okay. Can you continue your presentation then?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So these are the organizations you can see like ECPAT. We are the global network member in Nepal, and for sexual violence research initiative, we are a research advisory member, and with ITU, we are a member for Partner to Connect, and this year we placed our support to Cambodia for 5 years as a technical expert, and we protect global alliance, so we are a CSO member and reporting portal partner of Internet Watch Foundation, Secretariat of Safer Internet Day, National Curator of Stop Think Connect, and grantee Tech Coalition, Safe Online Fund, and members of NetSafe, and also we are hotline partner. Preparation phase is now. In Hope is the hotline operator, and also we are also partnering with Sweden Lapsia Protect Children in Finland. Besides this, we have many organizations in Nepal with whom we work. So if we put it, it will be more than 100 organizations, small, big.
Right.
So now I will talk about the situation of cyberbullying in Nepal. Uh, Bullying is not new, as in many countries, it's been there since quite long time. But cyberbullying is an extension of offline bullying. So it's like involving digital devices and internet. When internet became more affordable and accessible, so cyberbullying is also increasing in that way. And the most common places are SMS, social media posts, comments, group messaging and chats, online gaming messages, trolls, memes. And it also, like in many countries, it involves sending, posting, or sharing negative, harmful comments, messages, false information, rumor, mean, hate messages, mean content messages. So these are some of the things also in Nepal. And the purpose is to harass, humiliate, embarrass, torture, or spread false information on about someone. So like the manifestations on this, like we have the common things like a hate speech, like threats, insults, and intimidation, including by use of deep fakes using AI, and name calling, harassing, or sending hurtful messages, trolling, defamation, false rumors, spreading lies, embarrassing with messages, with pictures, with the videos, and sending unwanted explicit materials, doxing, publicly sharing personally identifiable information, and outing, revealing someone's gender identity or sexual orientation, and then non-consensual intimate image abuse. Some people also call it revenge porn. So that's also used, and also this is common among teens, young people, but also it's affecting younger children and also some adults. And here we can see some data from our research on online intimate partner violence. So although it doesn't say that it's data on cyberbullying, but we can see some elements like the highest number of prevalence is this partners swearing and yelling by audio and video call while making call message. So that is one. And the second is stalking online, obsessively following and also making hurtful comments, and controlling access to internet, interfering with online relationships. So these are some of the uh, common things like the from 100 now we have 10%, 10.27%. The most prevalent are these types of abuse. And this study we conducted in Nepal with more than 4,300 children and young people. of which 1762 participants had intimate partner violence, and they reported these things. And the most cases, in the most of the cases, the recent past partner were the perpetrator in most cases. And I am looking at some global and national data, like the global data. UNICEF says that 1 in 3 young people reported cyberbullying. So it was based on research in 30 countries. And also 70% of them use Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. And WHO also estimated that 30% of teenagers, they face cyberbullying, and they also had issues related to their mental health, anxiety, depression, and suicidal thoughts. And EU and USA data are also similar. 20 to 40% adolescents experience cyberbullying in the US, and 15% high school students reported cyberbullying in the past year. In Nepal, the cases are recorded at Cyber Bureau also increased, and the cases reported to Cyber Bureau just reflect about 5% or 10% of the actual cases, because most of the cases go unreported. So in 2023, in the first 8 months, 648 cases of online harassment, and many of them involving cyberbullying reported to police. And also the UNICEF survey also talk about the 30% children and adolescents. They experience some form of online harassment or bullying in Nepal on social media platforms. So now I am looking at the chart on the parents' awareness on online risks for children. Yes, parents are aware of online harm, but most of them are aware mostly about, they are worried about children using the internet or devices for a long time, addiction, screen time. And on the harm abuse, cyberbullying was number 2, 59% cyberbullying. Then misinformation, disinformation, intimate image sharing, those came 46%. And all these numbers are from multiple choices, so those don't count to add up to 100. And we did this research with 900 people in Kathmandu Valley. So also in the same research, we also found that 15% parents talk to their children about sexual exploitation and abuse and other online harms. 85% parents didn't talk about online safety or any harm. And parents perceive that strangers are more dangerous, but actually people who children already know are also harming children. And 94% parents say they never use or they don't know about e-safety tools or parental tools. And 69% parents believe that in-person safety awareness will be more helpful, because they might not be able to access and use online tools, online safety materials. So they also are asking for in-person digital safety awareness activities.
Anil, can we see the previous slide? Not that you, yes, this one. It's interesting because addiction to technology is the parents' main concern, yet they are afraid of the stranger danger on the internet, you know, sexual abuse and sexual content means, I mean, sextortion is nearly the end. Grooming also on the 20-something%. Exposure to violent or sexual content is on 38. It seems that it's something that they express, but they don't feel the risk. it's interesting.
It's interesting to see that they have some knowledge about the risk, but most parents were not aware about the seriousness, the gravity of the risk, what may happen, what would be the impact on the child. And also they were not aware of the vulnerabilities, what makes children vulnerable, how to prevent, and how to respond when they experience such things, when children experience these things, what children should do or what parents should do. So
Okay.
these types of information was not there. And also the support services, reporting mechanisms, those information was also not available. This is only a chart showing like on if they say, okay, what are the online risks for children? These are the risks they found as the most prevalent.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now this, so this we talked already, and now there's some tips which I don't need to repeat here. It's just the tips we are using in our trainings, in our online safety awareness for children and young people. So we do share such information during our trainings about what to do if a child is bullied.
Okay.
And then these are the tips for the parents. Some specific tips like to educate children, like this is for prevention. Like we do have uh, good thoughts and bad thoughts education for children offline. So we also need similar type of education in the digital age, online as well. And their body's boundaries, the messages, and what constitutes appropriate and inappropriate online behavior. And also encourage children to speak up if they find something disturbing or if someone violates their boundaries. And open communication, this is important because in most of the cases children don't find their families uh, supportive or feel comfortable to talk about these issues, so they don't talk. And when they don't talk after months, after years, they feel more unsafe and it may harm them more. So we are uh, encouraging open communication, listening to children, and also to be more supportive to them without judging or blaming the children. So this is difficult. And also to talk about the sexual abuse, sexuality, risk, and also about bullying. These things are not common in countries like Nepal. So it will take time, but we have to do this. And document evidence. If somebody bullies a child, the parents need to help to record the evidence and document like screenshots or conversations or messages. So those evidences will be useful for the court cases to report the cases to the police. And monitor and supervise what the child is doing. It's not only important to look at how much time the child spends using the technology, but also to look at what are the content the child has, who are the people the child is contacting, what type of behavior, the conduct the child is doing online. So these things monitor and supervise without being too much pushing, and also to use appropriate privacy settings for children and recognize the signs. If a child is in danger offline or online, there would be some symptoms, signs a child might show, like the mood, the physical health, sleep, eating, behavior, their school, their education, withdrawal, aggression. So all these things are also something the parents need to be aware of. And to protect privacy, we need to protect privacy while sharing details with police or with legal proceedings. Only share only with the people who need to know, not to everyone, and also to what level of information will be shared. Then take action if there is any suspect of any abuse. Then take immediate action, report to authorities, seek professional support, and also ensure a child's safety. Then stay informed, educate about online safety. First, the parents are also not digitally literate, many parents, so they also need to learn about online safety by themselves and teach children. And support and heal. Continue to provide support and love to the child. Help them to access professional counseling if required and therapy, and to address the trauma and facilitate healing, and also seek legal help. Like many people think it's difficult and it's also expensive, and so but when there's a need, it's also important to seek legal help. And this is another area, victim and witness protection. In most of the cases, even the police and the lawyers, they forget this part. Like uh, it's not only important to arrest the perpetrator and uh, proceed with the legal actions, but also to protect victim and witness, like anonymity, the identity of the child and the witness, to prevent and your safety, your privacy, and your safety planning, and minimizing the risk of their encountering physically or online encounter of the child and the family with the perpetrator or the people who may harm them, and provide support services, counseling, therapy, legal assistance, education and awareness, technological protection like blocking, reporting abusive content, and also getting help from platforms like TikTok or Facebook, Instagram, when their accounts are hacked or people use fake accounts to approach them. And interagency collaboration is also required. Police, schools, civil society organizations, private sector. So this type of support is also important for this. And training the law enforcement, prosecutors, and judges about the seriousness, and also to use the appropriate laws and child-friendly procedures. And monitoring and evaluation after the action is there, how to look at if these actions are making any impact, are effective, or if there is any change or improvements needed or any help needed. So monitoring and evaluation for victim and witness protection for these cases. And so this is also some thing which we already talked. I think there's something repeated, but these are also the things we use in our training. And this chart I will show about the layer of protection. Like the child needs to learn about online safety, then the child will be able to know what is risk, what is vulnerability, and who may harm them, and how to use the internet safely. So the first is the child, and the first layer is family. The family is very important because the family can provide guidance, protect, support, and will be together with the child. So family will be there as the first layer of protection. Then this communities, schools, uh, community-based organizations, child and youth clubs, they will also be helpful to the family, to the child, so they can raise awareness, they can provide peer support, they can link with service providers. So in that way, so they could also be another layer of protection. Then civil society, NGOs, ISPs, media, private sector, they can help in a bigger way, like filtering content, raising awareness, and also investing on online safety. So these are some of the things civil society, and also conducting research, studies, advocacy. Then police and judiciary. I deliberately use red color because we don't want children to experience and go out of this red boundary. if it happens, if there is a case, if there is a criminal case, then police and judiciary need to play child-centered and child-friendly investigation, and child-friendly legal protection should be also be there. Then government lawmakers for making the budget, making policies, making laws, making all these mechanisms. So it's a very big role for the government and lawmakers. Then UN, Interpol, regional bodies like ASEAN, like SARC, like EU, African Union. So that type of regional bodies, Interpol, UN. So these bodies can help in collaboration, networking, coordination, standard setting, and prosecution. So that's how we made this chart of layers of protection for child protection. So all these are very important, but we need to work with all these actors. So this is something we use in our training and awareness raising activities, like how to be safe online. And these are some of the information about our contact information, also police helpline, child helpline, and also our social media handles. I think I can stop here, and we can answer the questions as we get the questions. So the second part of the discussion we can do after we stop here. Okay.
Well, thank you for your presentation, Anil, and for the overview that you gave us from the situation in Nepal. I think that the data that you presented from the studies that you have developed are really interesting. And I was wondering, what is the status of cyberbullying awareness among children, young people, and parents in Nepal?
The awareness level is not very high. Many people, as I mentioned, that they are aware of children using the internet for a long time, the screen time. So that's visible, and people can see easily, but they don't know what the child is doing, how the child is experiencing good thing or bad thing. People don't know. So cyberbullying is also something they know also about bullying, but not the consequences, not the hidden causes, and also how the child will be doing. And one thing we are also looking at, the many parents also don't know if their children are only the victims or also the perpetrators. Children could also be the perpetrators. They don't know about that. So the limited understanding of cyberbullying is there, and also lack of understanding of the severity and magnitude of cyberbullying and other forms of online abuse. And children and parents do not know what to do and prevent and respond. So these things are also there. So they know the issue, even if they know, they don't know how to respond. And the helpline support services are also there, not many, but even the few helplines and support services, many parents don't know about that. We have a toll-free helpline 1098 1098, but many parents, school teachers, we went there, they don't know about that. And also very little knowledge about reporting, especially reporting on social media platforms, how to do the blocking, reporting, muting, and also how to report the case to the police. Like people don't like to go to the police office because they think it's too complicated and difficult, and it will take long time. So, and they are also not very much hopeful of getting justice. That's why reporting and what is required. So And also even to write a report, many people will struggle. So little knowledge of reporting, and digital literacy is very low among parents and also among children. And it's noteworthy to mention that in Nepal, there are also parents who are not only digitally illiterate, they are also like they cannot read and write. There are also parents like that. But their children are using the internet. Even the parents might be using the internet, but they don't know. They cannot read and write. So it's not only digital literacy, it's literacy itself is also a challenge. And socio-cultural barriers, talking about abuse, the uh, knowledge and the skills about of talking on online abuse with children. Even the school teachers, they don't know how to do that. So you might be surprised to find these things in countries like Nepal, India, maybe Pakistan, Bangladesh also. They have a class of biology where they have to teach about sexual and reproductive health. And those chapters, usually the teachers tell that, okay, you study this. They don't teach in the class. Even if they teach, they will make it very complicated, very much uh, scientific, biological. But they need to add the human touch, the emotional, the social. Those things are not there because they don't know how to do that. In the families also, uh, parents seldom talk about these things with your children. Some modern parents they are doing, but in most of the cases they don't know and they don't do that. So the awareness of cyberbullying, online safety, sexual abuse, these are very much required. And uh, I think the awareness level is very low.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
And you mentioned the teachers. How do schools deal with bullying in cyberbullying situations?
It's interesting. Like I don't know if it is happening like in 20 years, 30 years ago. Teachers also teachers themselves they also used to bully children in the classroom. Like some children might have some physical disability, some learning disabilities, or also their caste system. The teachers use very bad language and they treat very badly. Like if they have physical disability, teachers call children with the name of the disability. If they cannot see, they cannot walk, they can. So that was there. And also the caste. And also if some children are not very good in study, then those children might also be bullied by teachers and others. So it was in the past. So now this is not happening much, but still there are some modern forms of bullying by teachers. And in schools in Kathmandu, usually in the private expensive schools, they have one position of, it's not teacher, it's school staff. It's called DI, discipline inspector. So they will check who is wearing the uniform properly, or is it the skirt is not very short, or they are not doing makeup, and also they also physically punish those children. So that is also there. Bullying and all these things are also included. And if children are bullying and all these things, the teachers usually don't know what to do. They just punish both children, and the child who is being bullied doesn't get the support. Now, in some schools in the city areas, they also have made provision of school counselors. Those school counselors are helping. In some places, they have nurses. So it's improving, it's getting better, but still the problem is there. And they are not trained. The school teachers are not trained on addressing bullying, physical bullying or cyberbullying. They are not doing, and they will just use their own thoughts or knowledge what is good or bad, but most of the time that might not be appropriate. So training teachers on addressing bullying, on preventing bullying, and also helping children is also quite important. Maybe we can think about these things and plan to support the school teachers. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anil, and is there any laws? Are there any laws mandating schools to address this topic, to provide training and things like that? Is there? Do you feel that there's a legislation vacuum that needs to be filled legally? And what's your perspective on the situation in Nepal?
So on paper, there are some laws. There's one law which the police like to use, that is Electronic Transactions Act 2007. So that act has one article, Article 47, and the act was made to address financial frauds,
Mhm.
phishing, and all these things. But the Article 47 talks about uh, making trolls, memes, and defaming people, making uh, uh, cartoons, pictures online, and that law is used for everything. The police uses that law all the time for bullying, for CSAM, for anything which is not appropriate. And it also has a lot of limitations because the law was not made specifically for that purpose. And it doesn't talk about children, women, your sensitivity, and all these things. But there is one uh, better law, that's the act relating to children. So it was adopted in 2018. It has Article 66, which defines different forms of abuse and violence against children, including offline and online. It also addresses things like drawing or making computer generated imagery, and all these things are also mentioned. But that law is not used by the police
Okay.
because the police thinks they are mandated to only look at the other laws, the cyber bureau. So that law is not used much, and we are promoting that law and also advocating to use that law. And the limitations, like the other law I mentioned, had it still has like the cases should be filed within 35 days of the knowledge. If somebody knows about this, they have to
To report.
report to the police within 35 days.
Well,
And and it was only possible in Kathmandu. So there are 77 districts, and for people, especially for children, it's not it's almost impossible for them to come to Kathmandu and report. The
sure.
children cannot come alone, and also it's expensive, and also they cannot travel. And now the police and the government made provision to uh, take reports in all the districts. So the police doesn't have a sufficient capacity in all the districts. So that is still a problem. And also the other laws are also not very much familiar to police and the lawyers. That's why we made a toolkit together with UNICEF for the lawyers. We train uh, the government attorneys, we train the defense lawyers, we train police on these laws, these procedures. So the legal provision is very weak, and whatever is available is also not implemented very well. So I would say the legal protection is not much in terms of cyberbullying, and some issues are also not defined in the law. Like we conducted research on online intimate partner violence. The law doesn't recognize intimate partner. It only recognizes married couples. So
Mhm.
if somebody is not married and they are a couple, the law doesn't recognize that. And the law doesn't recognize grooming. Law recognize it when the incident take place. Like if somebody is harmed, the law will recognize. If somebody is grooming to harm the child, it's not illegal. It's so there are a lot of gaps, and we need to work on these things. There's something, but the legal protection is still a big issue, and most of the cases going to cyber bureau are related to financial fraud or some fake ID, those things. That's why the reports to police are not that many.
Okay. And regarding education, are schools mandated to approach these topics within the school curriculum? Is cyberbullying a topic on the school curriculum or in extracurricular activities? Do schools need to have a regulation regarding the use of technology within the school premises? Uh, are there any for instance, are students allowed to take pictures in the WC, when they're changing clothes in the gymnasium, stuff like that? Are there regulations for that?
In most of the schools, actually, they have not thought about including this. I'm using the word thought here with a emphasis because they are not doing and they are also not thinking to do this. What schools do is they have a set curriculum where like English, science, math, biology, that type of subject they teach. They also have one subject called computer science. So under computer science, they teach about hardware, software, CPU, monitor, mouse, hard disk. They teach about these things. And they also will teach about Excel, Word, these things they will teach. But they don't teach about online harm, cyberbullying, CSAM. These things are not there. Some schools, they started to do that, but it's not mandatory. And it will not be asked in the exams. If it's not asked in the exams, it's not important for them to teach, and students don't need to read, study. So it's not there in the schools, but some schools are doing, some private schools are interested to do that. And in terms of reaching these schools with the training and all these things, we have actually been conducting such training in schools with our trainers, and also we are collaborating with the schools. But our effort is like a drop in the ocean. There are so many schools, we cannot do all these things physically with the time and the resources. So if they have these things like a part of the curriculum in the books, and if it's a part of the exam and all these things in the system, then all children will get that education. So that is something we need to start. And we are approaching small government bodies like the municipalities, the local governments. It's easy to make changes in 100 schools than in 5,000 schools.
For sure.
So in that way, we work with them and use the resources, and also we can see, and if things we need to modify, it can also be done. If we do mistake in 5,000 schools, we have to correct in 5,000 schools. If we do in pilot 10 school, 20 school, 100 schools, is more manageable. So we are approaching in that way. So with some pilot schools, then we'll go and we'll advocate for including online safety in the school curriculum. In that way, all the schools will have online safety.
Okay, thank you. You talked about layers of protection in your presentation. Are there any effective support service available to children and young people affected by cyberbullying in Nepal?
So the service support services, we need to look at the general support service system. Like in the country like Nepal, even the hospitals are not very good, and it's very expensive. People have difficulty in getting the services. The services provided by the government, private hospitals, and for the offline, there are some services for the children who are on the street, who are rescued from child labor, from trafficking. there are some services and for girls. But online, I don't think there's any particular organization working to provide such services. There helplines, some one-off type of support, but not long time. We got information about internet addiction, and some children are admitted to a mental hospital in Kathmandu, Children's Mental Hospital, but we are not aware how much the doctors and nurses are trained and equipped to handle these cases. Even in the hospitals, we don't have that. We have psychologists, but not specific to online issues, cyberbullying. So this is a very big gap of service provision. That's why we are working to build capacities of service providers, including the helplines. Like we have 18 helplines, child helplines, 1098, and we are planning to equip them with the online safety issues so that when they provide help, the staff of the helpline are fully aware and they can provide such services. So support services and also the access to services, quality of services are big questions. So these are the things we need to do a lot.
And also, I've seen in the presentation you mentioned that you are working within Hope in order to set up a hotline, right?
Right.
Okay. But regarding helplines, you already have 18 helplines in Nepal,
Right. Yeah.
but none of them specifically for online issues.
Not specific, it's a general. 18 hotlines have the same number, 18 helplines have the same number, 1098. They are located in different places. They provide legal services, other services. That's primarily when they started, they didn't uh, plan for the online was not in their plan. So when online component has also been in prevalence, so they are also addressing online issues, but still we need to provide them a good training, good capacity building, and also a referral pathway for the help. So that's why these helplines can be very useful, but we need to work with them. And the hotline system is also required. We are working to set up the hotline in Nepal together with In Hope. We had a roundtable where discussions, and so we need to work with the government. So after that, we'll have our analysts working with the police, with In Hope. So that's the plan. So it will be portal-based hotline, not the phone-based hotline, portal-based hotline. So analysts will be analyzing the CSAM contents. So that's another work we are planning. And also we currently also do have Internet Was Foundation reporting portal to report CSAM unanimously. It's also available in Nepali. So we are the country reporting partner for Internet Was Foundation reporting portal. So some things are happening small, we're starting, but we have to go a long way.
Sure. I believe Cristiane has an additional question.
How is the use of smartphones by youth in Nepal? Here in Portugal, we have almost 97% of the young people using smartphones everywhere. In Nepal, is it easier for the youth have their own smartphones? How does it work there?
Usually, most parents don't buy smartphones for their children. So
Okay.
usually they buy after they are 16, 17, when they pass high school, they give them smartphones, actually their own smartphones. But it doesn't mean that children don't use the smartphones. What happens is children use their parents or their siblings or elder siblings' phones. So they know everything about TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook. Children know, even if they are 5 years or 10 years, even 2 years, child watches cartoons, YouTube. So it doesn't mean that they are not using, but they don't have their own smartphones. And the issue with using other people's smartphones, like the parents or the brothers might be using the phone for different purpose. In some cases, not some, many cases, they have some sexual content on their phones or their devices, and they use that and they have their own accounts. And children who are below 13 years, they also have access to those content. So without having their own devices, they might also be exposed to such material. And in terms of the number of people using internet, it's like it's more than the number of people. The uh, phone internet connectivity, it's like one person has 1.4 number of internet connection. So mostly through the mobile data. So that means some people have two SIM cards they use at the office and home. So it's more than one person has more than one, and that's the average. But active users would be about 60%, 70% use the internet, and the access is almost in all the districts of the country. It's affordable, and phones are affordable. It's like 5,000 rupees, like it's like $40, $50. With that money, people can buy a phone which can access the internet. And then those Wi-Fi and internet companies, they are offering very cheap internet, like 150 rupees, like it's like about $1 or something. So people can use internet for 1 week, unlimited to use TikTok. Now TikTok is ban has been released, so if they have that money, they can use for 1 week without any limit. And also people from very remote areas, they are making AI generated deepfake videos, and they are not highly educated. They are from the remote areas, from the villages. They are also making such AI generated deepfakes. And also the demand for phones are like that in the villages where they don't have money to buy phones. The children and young people, they are forcing their parents to buy cell phones by selling their cattle, their goats, their pigs, and buying the phones. So it's a big, if they don't have, it's like they are behind their peers and they are out of the society. So owning a phone is very important. That shows that phone uses and its access is very much there. With same accessibility, there is also a risk of their getting bullied or abused, or other online harms are also there.
But did we understood well? You said that TikTok was banned in Nepal, and is it still banned?
No. So last week the ban was released. It was banned for 10 months. The government banned TikTok because the government thought that it is disrupting social harmony. It's making um, videos. People are making videos which is harming others, or are of sexual nature and all these things. So government banned TikTok, and now the ban has been released. And what the government didn't do was the government did not ban Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, which also have similar features, reels and shorts, and they also have similar content. But the government didn't ban those platforms. On the other hand, the government also wants to control the internet. So they made the social media bill. So all the social media platforms, companies with more than 100,000 users need to register the company in Nepal and also have their office and pay tax. So, but I think most of the companies are not, they don't have offices. So if that law is passed, then the government will have the power to ban all social media platforms.
I understand.
Okay, thank you very much. We are approaching the end of our session, but before we close the session, can you give us 3 tips, piece of advice, a recommendation for parents and educators and professionals that work with children or have them under their guard, so that they can apply immediately after this session?
Okay, we have made recommendations for different stakeholders and duty bearers. And if you like to know about what our recommendations are for parents, educators, and professionals, I can also talk about these recommendations. For parents, I think it's important to increase digital literacy. And it's very important because until they know if this is harmful, they will not do anything. So it's important. So they increase digital literacy among parents. And also another important thing, but difficult thing is open communication with children. To have open communication, to talk about their uh, issues, to talk about the abuse, if they need any help, without being judgmental. So that type of open environment for communication is important. And also talk about sexuality, sexual abuse. These things are also important. And also to use parental tools and settings, like in TikTok, there's a family pairing. In in many apps, there are privacy setting, two-factor authentication. Those things also should be considered by parents. And also some limiting screen time, and also uh, to limit access to adult sites, and also to understand uh, applicability of the suitability of the sites and apps, like the movie rating, games rating. So online sites and platforms should also be suggested to children by parents. And promote responsible online behavior, how to be kind, how to respectful to others, how to not to harm others while protecting oneself. Children should all be taught about respectful behavior, responsible behavior. And also limit screen time. This is for the parents as well as for the children. So when the parents are using the internet screen for a long time, they will not have time to talk to children, and also they cannot say no to the children. So it's important to limit screen time by the parents as well as the children, and learn about the reporting of cases and support services, where the support is available, what to do, how to report, how to get help. So these are some of the things the parents can do. And for the educators, like we discussed, it's important to integrate online safety into the school curriculum. It should not be like, okay, if some teachers are interested, they want to do this. No, it should be mandatory, and it should be taught in the schools, like it's like our physical safety, earthquake safety, like disaster or health. This should also be part of the school curriculum. And create safe reporting mechanisms in schools. If a child is in danger, if a child wants to report, where to report, who to report, which teacher or how. So that reporting mechanism should be safe and should be not judgmental. And if required, assign counselors or psychologists to help the child. If the child is uh, suffering from online bullying or any other forms of online abuse, how to help the child, what should be done as the first aid, and what to do next, and assist in reporting incidents, and also to get help from the service providers. And again, schools can also teach about responsible online behavior, how to be kind, how to be respectful, how to treat others kindly, and limit screen time. By that should also be something the educators should consider for teaching. And for the professionals, for the people working in the industries, in the NGOs, UN agencies, I think it's important that they should be aware of uh, the importance of online safety by themselves and raise awareness, public awareness. And first, I would say that they need to train their staff. These professionals, these organizations, many staff, they don't know. So they need to train their staff, and after that, they can integrate that into their projects. So it doesn't need to be like they have a dedicated project on cyberbullying or online sexual exploitation. They can have this built in with their community activities, their other programs which are not related to online safety, but they can integrate in that way. So they don't need the budget, they don't need more human resource. And the service providers need to learn more and provide quality service, and also to provide services with more, making it more accessible, psychological support, legal aid, technological support, and the referral pathways, like to get help from each other. So one organization might not have all the resources, all the expertise, like they can have the support from the lawyers, from the doctors, from the psychologists, from the tech professionals. So that type of referral pathway, and also collaboration between different actors, and legal protection is already there. And also to advocate for more investment from the government, from the tech companies, from the private sector, from the schools, because they are doing business, they are responsible, so they also need to invest time, money, and effort. And the professionals also need to work with the parents, work with the children, young people, with the communities, and if they have any resources for the training, for awareness raising, anything, if they have, those resources can be used by others. Like some countries are contacting us to use our resources by translating into their languages. If that is useful, then we'll be happy to share our resources. So within the country also, different organizations can do that. So it's like if some resources are available, that should be made available to other organizations. So we need to act more, and also to make short-term, mid-term, and longer-term plans. So in that way, and also to see like what is doable and what is more important now we can do. Like I mentioned about the curriculum and all these things. These are doable, but needs budget and also political will. That will also can be done slowly. And but the big thing, which doesn't need much money or resources, like making the family communication open and child friendly. It doesn't require much money, but the society, people's habit, that is very difficult to change. So we can have some influencers, some people who has best practices that can influence other people. So we can do awareness and all these things. So there's some recommendations, but we can make more specific recommendations and work together based on the actual actors and the issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anil. And before the end session, just because the participants' opinion is very important to us, we ask all those watching this session to give us their opinion about this session by the link that we will that will be on the video description. Okay, so for Portuguese speaking viewers only, but you have the link. So please share your opinion with us. That's the only way we can get better with these sessions of cyberbullying telesam. Tito, up to you.
Well, we reached the end of our session. It was a pleasure being with you, Anil, to know about you and your work and the situation in Nepal. Thanks very much for your availability and participation. I would also like to thank our sponsors, that is TikTok, Google, .pt, and Agarrados à Net, Clinging on the Net project. And a special thanks to all those that will be watching this recording.
Next session will be also held in English. We will have a guest from South Africa. The Zoom link where you can participate will be sent to all of you in the morning of the session day, as usual. We are counting on you. See you on Monday and have a great weekend. Thank you all. Thank you, Anil.
Thank you, Anil.
Thank you very
very
much.
much.